the food's got to be great, right? Or a chef, it's going to be the best food within hundreds of miles. And I wasn't focused on the guest at all. And now the food got to where it is. And that's when I started to see the difference. It's not about the food. Now the food's a bonus.
Yeah.
If they got good hospitality, a good experience, they're coming back.
Hello, chefs. This is Chef's PSA, and I'm your host, André Natera. My guest is Chef Geno of Lucia's Italian Kitchen in Effingham, Illinois, a construction contractor who taught himself to cook and now serves real Italian that competes with Chicago out of a small town. His lesson, the food is the bonus, not the point. We get into hospitality, pizza, and building a destination in the middle of nowhere. Stay tuned.
Rewiring Hospitality, Preston Lee.
Yeah.
He was the main speaker.
He's the guy that he does like a lot of hospitality clips, right? Like
He does. He is.
Yeah, he's good. I
huge.
follow him, but I don't know much about him other than I think he wasn't in the group chat. Someone sent one of his videos in the group chat. And like, this guy knows his shit. So I started following him.
His videos float everywhere, right? So true hospitality, leadership was what it mostly for, was hospitality, and then how to teach leadership, right? That's the whole thing. So Will Guidara was a speaker, Tyler Florence was a speaker, and then they had another guy, I forget who that guy was, but he owned a big resort in Florida. So I had three major speakers, and then they had a financial guy. So it was just 2 days of impact, raw hospitality versus service, numbers to leadership.
How many people were in attendance?
500.
Whoa.
So what was cool,
In San Diego, you said?
Irvine,
okay.
California.
Yeah.
So we got these badges, and the badges, you go to any show, the badges are like plastic or whatever around your neck. These are metal, like license plates.
Whoa.
So on the bottom, it said Founder Pass. This was what was cool. So when you purchase that price, you're locked in for life at that price to any continuing ed seminar they do. So that was pretty cool, what it says on there. But it was just so informational, huge, mostly hospitality versus service. Guest walks in, have you been here before? Terrible question, right?
Yeah.
When's the last time you dined with us? There's just all that point. Then Will Guidara comes in, Mr. Hospitality, wrote the book, the hot dog story, everything he's done. So it was great. We learned a lot for 2 days.
Did you get to spend much one-on-one time with any of them?
We did.
Yeah.
So I got to spend a lot of time with Preston Lee.
Yeah.
And that was at it was like a dinner after party. So him and I kind of talked for about 25, 30 minutes. And it was more of the leader. He preaches leadership, right? You have to be a
You
good
guys
leader.
partying on a yacht?
No, it wasn't a yacht. It was in a Boss Cat restaurant, which is a big restaurant there. And they had this courtyard. It was all this big party, food set up, drinks. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Weather was beautiful, but it was all outdoors on there. And for so many people were trying to get to him. Will Guidara did not show up at the dinner, right? He would have been swarmed.
Yeah.
And you could have paid to have one-on-one time with Will. I'm like, I read the book. I'm good. I got it. I don't need to pay to have one-on-one. But it was good.
It's interesting when you say you could pay to have one-on-one time with Will. I think what people, not that you missed this. I'm not trying to attack you here, but I think what a lot of people don't understand is that one-on-one time. Yeah, you're probably not going to get anything that you didn't get from the book, but you're going to get the face-to-face connection, and he's going to remember you. Right. And you might get the cell phone, and you might get the, hey, I'm in town.
Yeah, I get it. I was hoping to catch him off of somewhere in transition through that day.
Yeah.
Because in his book, he did this whole thing where somebody had an anniversary, and somehow he set up on a separate floor in a room, they got married on a beach, he put sand, he got all this stuff, played this Caribbean music, and gave them their wedding song, and to set up this party.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, we're in the restaurant, right? And one of our fronts, which we now call experience makers versus front of house, right?
Yeah.
And she said, this five top just got married like 20 minutes ago in the courthouse. And I said, what five? She goes, right here, table one. I'm like, find out what their wedding song is. And she looked at me like I had three heads. So she did. She come back. She said, it's Chris Stapleton, whatever the song was. So I go and I turn my music off. I turn it up. I find the song and I play it. And I walk to their table and say, hey, I appreciate you guys coming out. Your first meal as a married couple at my restaurant. We'd like to provide you your wedding dance. She looked at him, he looked at her, and sure enough, they got up and danced their first song right in the restaurant. The whole restaurant went nuts. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it was cool. So I stole that out of the book, but it wasn't to the format of that. But that's the hospitality side. And that went on our social media, and it just kind of blew up. It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. So 2 days, what were some of the biggest takeaways that you're now going to go back and implement? Because you just did this pretty recently. Right?
Last week.
So what is the action plan as soon as you get back?
So I fly home tomorrow.
Yeah.
Wednesday, I set up a 9 to 5 full training with the staff. The entire company is in. It's only 13 of us, but culture is number one, right?
Yeah.
So without that, nothing else I don't think is possible. So we're restructuring the culture of what we are, where we want to go. And then guest experience is our main thing. So everything else we have is in good shape. You know, it could be better, but it's that whole, how do we make that guest feel seen? What are we going to do above and beyond everybody else?
So creating a culture of hospitality. And
Exactly.
what is the culture right now of hospitality
It's
at Lucia's?
it's service, right? It's not. I mean, it's hospitable. I'm an open kitchen model, so we're in the theater, right? They're watching every move. We're talking to guests at the chef counter. Even our servers and our fronts, they do a good job, but it's very good service. It's not hospitality. It's not walking them from the host stand to their seat, getting into a conversation. Do you have any plans this evening? What's after this? And instead of, have you been here before? You know? So we're looking for little keys that we can pull out of conversation quickly, which allows us to maybe do something special for them or make their evening a little bit better. Birthday, anniversary, death of the family, anything like that, you know?
Yeah.
And then like a small gesture we did, there was a little girl. She was smelling our flower out on her herb garden, and she barely reached. She's sniffing, and I'm like, oh. So I went out there. I picked the prettiest flower that I thought was pretty, and I gave it to this little girl. She lost her mind. Oh my gosh, she was so happy. Her mom put it in her hair, and that's what they remember. They forget about the carbonara they ate,
Yeah.
but it was that.
Well, it's funny. I was at this Italian restaurant. You've probably heard me share the story before. It wasn't a great restaurant, by the way. So that actually makes the story better because the food was just, you know, the guy came out and was like, oh, we make everything from scratch, and I'm seeing him open the box of tiramisu behind the counter. I'm like, okay, I got it. But you know, he was super hospitable, and afterwards he's giving us a hug, telling us he loves us. And I've shared that story before on the podcast, but I think what even though the food wasn't incredible, I've gone back because of the hospital, because of this gentleman, because of how great he made us feel. And I think people have lost that a little bit in the restaurant world. Like we forget, like we're here to be hospitable, make them feel good, enjoy the night, relax. Don't worry, you're in good hands.
Yeah. Even though you saw him take the box, it's okay.
Yeah.
I agree with that. So the first few years when I was driving Lucia's, it was all about the food. The food's got to be great, right? We're a chef. It's going to be the best food within hundreds of miles. And I wasn't focused on the guest at all. And now the food got to where it is. And that's when I started to see the difference. It's not about the food. Now the food's a bonus.
Yeah.
If they got good hospitality, a good experience, they're coming back. And then good food's just.
What are some of the things that you're doing now that you think, can you share any tricks of the trade at the restaurant that you think makes you stand apart in terms of hospitality currently?
Well, I just think one simple thing we do is we have a host stand, right? So our front door, 6 feet from the host stand when you walk in. So our host is not standing behind the host stand with her face in the iPad.
Yeah.
We can see we have glass all the way to the restaurant. So she walks away from greets the guest coming in. We already know if there's a reservation at 5:30, so there's for 2. We can figure that out. This is your reservation. We greet them, we get them to the seat, and then they return back to the host stand and seat them on the iPad. So instead of you coming to us saying, do you have a reservation? Oh, yeah, I do. It's under Andre. And you look down, and now you got the glare in your face, and you've lost eye contact. So we don't do that at all. We literally step away. We open the door. If we can, we open the door for everybody who comes in the restaurant. So that's just one. It's smile. Just smile at them.
Yeah.
It's a simple thing.
Do you teach or do you study body language at all for the hospitality side?
On the guest side or on our side?
Well, both, but more so on the guest side.
I do. Right. And we try to, and that's one of the things we're going through next week. You can tell the ones that You kind of just let them be. They're just there to enjoy the meal. They don't want to have a lot of conversation. You have to read that. And then you can tell the ones that just want it all, right? So you read the guest, and then our staff, as far as body language, they see it. If you have a frown on your face, you make a mistake, you drop a fork, whatever it is in the dining room. So, our goal is to just stay smiling, keep happy. Don't bring a bad day into the restaurant is what we say, right?
Yeah.
You're having a rough day, let's get through it. And we have a little pre-shift before that. And we don't talk about 86 items. We don't talk about how many covers we have. We don't talk about any of that in our pre-shifts. That goes on a dry erase board in the back of the house. They can read it in 5 minutes. We talk about how we're going to make the experience better for the guests. We spend that 5 minutes with each one of them on, give me one thing you're going to do better tonight for our guests. That's what we do.
That's a good model. Because hospitality is definitely what makes, sometimes what makes a great restaurant, right? It's that little, when you're leveling up, right? So the restaurant feels like it has a soul. It's that hospitality piece is missing. On the body language piece, I used to teach, still kind of do. I haven't recently, but I used to teach at the Hospitality Academy at the CIA in San Antonio. And part of, my leadership course that I teach people, people don't know this because I don't think I've ever taught my leadership course on the podcast.
Right.
But part of what I teach in my leadership course is body language. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm like FBI negotiator level body language expert,
Right.
but I've studied under someone who was a very capable, I would say maybe the best that I know when it comes to body language. And because of that, I'm able to reinforce some of that in a business setting, like how to shake hands properly, or how to read the room, how to see where their feet are pointed, eye contact, stuff like that. And then also incorporating a little bit of NLP. If people don't know what that is, it's a rabbit hole that people should go down. It's called neuro-linguistic programming. And basically it's understanding how people communicate. So this is a lesson, so people can take out their notepad right now. It's how people communicate. They either communicate auditory, visual learners, kinesthetic learners, digital learners, and so on. So, it would be like if someone says, I see what you mean, versus them saying, I hear you, or I feel you.
Big difference.
Right.
Yeah.
So when whatever words that they use, you could pick up on that and understand. If you're a kinesthetic communicator, and so you say, I feel you, right? Let me touch that. Like the language that you use is very touchy. And I'm a visual communicator. I say, I see what you mean. We're going to clash. And we might not ever understand why we're clashing. It's just the language that we choose to use. So when you understand that and you pick up on that, and you could all of a sudden connect with people and build rapport.
You're reading them, and
simply by
what
using
you
their
need to do.
language.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing that people should. And granted, it's like
You said the rabbit hole you'd have to go down and figure it out.
Yeah, it's these fringe things, but like when you want to be the best at whatever endeavor you want to be the best at, you kind of got to search the fringe, because that's where that 1% is. Like everyone's low hanging fruit has all been picked.
Yeah, that's true. How did they know that, right? How did they already know that?
Yeah.
And it's not a matter of seeing a guest like this, I need my check, or I need a to-go box, or I think what you're saying is a lot deeper than that. It's in the end, that's your job. You should be able to tell whether or not they need a to-go box,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting. That's a good one for
Yeah.
sure.
Last time we caught up, I'm trying to think. I've been thinking about this conversation that we're going to have, and you told me last time that your playlist. Did you change your playlist in the restaurant? It's still, you changed it?
A couple times. Yeah.
Last time you were here, you told me your playlist, when I thought this was amazing. I was like, oh, that's brilliant. Was the Bronx Tale.
It is.
A Bronx
we
Tale.
we do that. We do the Goodfellas soundtrack, and we still do it.
Yeah.
But we've changed it to different vibes of time. Not only we still play it, but at different times of the day. Yeah. So when I want the energy higher on Saturday night dinner service, that one isn't on. Right. That's more of a 4 to 5 range, late afternoon, or possibly a Sunday afternoon.
Do you have your curated playlist?
We don't have it. We don't have it all typed out. So we go from we've kind of went to some 80s things, a little bit livelier in the night. But the Bronx Tale is the best. If I could play it every time, I would.
I love that.
Because it has it on there. It has the words and the talk, and it has the music and everything in there. Some people get it.
Yeah,
And some
I got it.
people
When you said, I was like, oh, I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
One of the greatest gangster flicks of all time.
It is. So we still play it, but we kind of now have changed a little bit on how I want the restaurant to go. We want to pick up the liveliness, and because our restaurant is small. I mean, it's 39 seats with 10 chef counter, and it can get buzzingly, not loud, but energy. The energy in our restaurant when you're in a wide open kitchen, and you can hear pans and you can hear the kitchen noises, and you can hear the cutter going through the pizza or the pizza oven firing, right? And people are just glued. So yeah, it's different levels, and I can read that room, like you said, and I can say, okay, could you say blue hairs on here? We got a lot of blue hairs at the early bird special.
Yeah.
You don't want to play that kind of music, right? So there's levels of where we change it. For sure.
It's funny that I love music in general. But I lean a little bit more hip hop. At least hip hop is more on brand, right? For me. Chef's PSA, if you're following the page, you're going to hear hip-hop music playing. It's not all I listen to. I just think that's the brand. Like, Chef's PSA is hip-hop.
Yep.
But I have a lot of different playlists. One of my playlists, one of my favorite playlists that I have is my Tony Soprano's playlist. Now, granted, it's not from The Sopranos, but it's what I imagine his playlist would be. So it's like, what would Tony Soprano be listening to in Jersey in 2003? Right?
Whoa.
It's like I have some Journey in there. I have some, it's a mix. I have some Pink Floyd in there, but it's good. It's one of my favorite playlists that I could listen to.
So more like 80s.
I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up.
80s rock.
I'll pull it up right now.
80s soft rock.
While I'm here, let me see. Where's my Tony Soprano playlist? I won't play the songs because I think I'll get in trouble. So I got like Pink Floyd, Comfortably Numb. I got Voodoo Child, Jimi Hendrix.
Okay.
I got Rolling Stones, Give Me Shelter. Let me see. I got Baby Blue by Badfinger. I got obviously Journey, Don't Stop Believing. The ending of The Sopranos. You got to put that in there. Let me see. I got some Fleetwood Mac in there. Doobie Brothers, Tom Petty.
No, that's a cool.
Yeah, it's like I'll send you my playlist.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's like what would Tony Soprano be listening to? So that's my other playlist. When I'm not listening to the Chef's PSA hip hop playlist, I'm listening to that one.
Yeah, and we are doing more of the kind of upper beat music during Friday, Saturday night services. But during that, we'll do there'll be Sinatra and there'll be other things because kind of is that way. All of our plates, 90% of my dishes are thrifted, old antique style. Then I'm finding these cool old grandma plates, and I can have 4 rigatoni butieras hit the table, 4 different plates, right? It's like kind of going to grandma's house in a way. So I got to kind of somewhat be careful with our whole vibe.
Do you ever put Italian music in there?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. My daughter goes nuts. She goes, nobody understands that shit. I'm like, yeah, that's
good
what
though. I like Italian hip hop. Have you ever put that on there?
No, I have not, but I've heard it. Yeah. And
I like it. And the reason I like it is because it's like, you know what? It sounds good. Like the beats are good. And you kind of, I could pick up on some of what they're saying. Like my Italian is okay. Right. It's not great. It's okay. But my Spanish is good. So my Spanish is good. My Italian's okay. So when I'm hearing it, it's like I'm catching about 50%. Of course they're singing it, right? Of course they're singing it. They're throwing in slang that it's like I don't know what that slang word is, but I love it. I love the beats. So yeah, some Italian hip hop in there. It's a great show. As we're kind of really veering off course here. There's an Italian gangster show. I saw it on Netflix or maybe HBO Max. It was one of those. Gomorrah. Have you seen that? No. If people like Gomorrah, yeah. If people like gangster flicks, so this is about like the it's not the mafia, it's the version of the mafia in Naples. It's called the Camorra, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, in Naples, and it's a great show, but it's all in Italian. I'll subtitle it in English,
right?
But I want to hear them speak it in Italian. It's great. It's a great show.
I do. I listen a lot. Like it could be something I'm watching on TV and it's in Italian, or it could be, like esquisita, right? So, I'm looking at a recipe and my wife's like, why do you watch that? You can't understand half of what they're saying. I said, I understand enough.
Yeah.
And then I got eyes, so,
Yeah.
and then the music, we do play in Italian too in the restaurant, and it works for certain days, but we have never really locked into one. It's just, I do it with the changes of the flow of the restaurant.
Yeah. So
Maybe I should lock into one. I don't know.
So
It works.
prime service Friday, Saturday, it's upbeat, most
Yeah.
likely. Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes with the energy, and it's the night's winding down.
Correct.
A little crescendo.
Yeah, here it comes out 8 o'clock. Starting to come down, and so we just got done renovating the entire kitchen and dining room, and then our lights are not on automatic dimmers. We have to dim them. So I changed the lighting through the day because I'm surrounded by glass, and that sunlight comes in, so it's different lighting through the day. But then at night, the lights are coming down. And I'll be on the pass, and all of a sudden it's 7:30, and we're in the rocking in service. And I'm like, damn, it's bright in here.
Yeah.
Like, go turn the lights down, and we get busy. So it's that, we have to have a certain timer at night that 6 o'clock lights got to go down.
I want to, only because it's on my mind. Going back to A Bronx Tale, what are your top 5 Italian gangster movies?
Oh, that's probably number one, honestly.
Bronx Tale?
Yeah, that would be number one.
They don't have to be Italian gangster movies, but usually the best ones are, right?
I don't really like Casino.
You don't like it?
I do.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, I do. So they don't have to be in order, right? I mean, Casino,
yeah.
Bronx Tale, Goodfellas, of course.
Godfather?
Godfather for sure.
1 or 2 or 3?
1.
1, yeah.
Yeah, I'm Godfather 1. And then what is the Irish one? What is that one?
Eastern Promise? No, that was the Russian one.
Oh, this was
With Sean Penn?
no. It's called The Irishman, wasn't it? What's it
Oh,
called?
The Irishman.
Yes.
Yeah, with De Niro and Pesci.
Yes,
Right? Yeah.
those are probably.
Yeah.
And so I made my kids watch them.
Yeah.
And even like my grandson, he's not ready for that. He's fine. He's 12. So yeah, the kids have all watched them, and they watched me growing up with them. But yeah, I'd say those.
What about the Untouchables?
That's pretty good too.
The Untouchables had bad music though. Other than the theme song,
Yeah.
like I felt like they didn't hit it right with the music.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a great movie. Star cast: De Niro,
I know.
Sean Connery.
They're all, it's crazy. But still, The Bronx Tale has probably got to be up there in my top for sure.
Honorable mentions for me, I would say. By the way, the one I was trying to reference earlier was The State of Grace with Sean Penn.
Okay.
I think it's called State of Grace.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, great. But I'm thinking Carlito's Way is great too.
I don't think I've seen that one.
You haven't seen with Al Pacino? You got to watch that.
No.
Carlito's Way. People have Benny Blanco from the Bronx.
Put that on the list.
Yeah, put that one on the list. Carlito's Way, honorable mention for them. But yeah, I'm with you. I would say for me, and I know I'm going to catch some shit for this.
30 years in the kitchen, 7 books, 200 podcast episodes, all distilled into a 5-minute daily leadership practice. It's called Lead Like a Chef. Most people who get promoted quit the industry within 2 years, not because they can't cook, but because no one taught them how to lead. I built an app that does. Lead Like a Chef. Take the free 2-minute quiz that tells you exactly where you stand. Go to studio.com/Andre. Link is in the show notes.
I liked Godfather 3. I did. I did it and it was probably because that was one of the first ones I saw as a kid. Right?
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So I Godfather 3, obviously Goodfellas, obviously Casino, Bronx Tale, maybe Donnie Brasco I put in there too.
Oh, I forgot about Donnie Brasco.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty spot on for the most part. That movie, that kind of fell into that, And I think I know we're getting so far off the subject, but
That's all right.
I was born in Cicero, right? In 1971. My older brother's 12 years old at the time, 11, and they used to go down to the little club with my mother's grandfather for coffee.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we moved. I think my dad says, we need to get out of here. They're getting too old to see some of this stuff that's going on in this town. And he moved us an hour south of Chicago at that point. And I think that's the only reason we moved.
Yeah.
is because of how Cicero was in the 70s and the 80s.
Yeah.
And I don't think he wanted my older brothers around that, or even me, when I was still young. I was like 6 years old.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we ended up moving down south of Joliet, Illinois, and we kind of grew up there.
Yeah.
But he'll never admit it, but I'm almost positive that's why he moved to Cyprus. He took a job down there. He had a job already. He was a Teamster, all that stuff in the city. But then he's like, nope, we're moving. I didn't know I was young.
Yeah.
But that's off the path.
Yeah. When I was, well, I got stories that I can't share on the podcast. I'll just leave it at that.
That's right. We'll save those for later.
We'll have a drink. I'll share
Yeah.
some of those with you off the podcast. Going back to food, we got way off course. But you bring up something interesting. I can't remember which pasta you mentioned earlier. We were talking about food, and you said maybe it's this pasta. What did you say it
The
was?
rigatoni buttiera.
Okay. What's the big difference, I would say, right, between Italian American food and Italian food? And here's my take on Italian American food versus Italian food, because a lot of
This is a hot subject, but go ahead.
here's my take on it, right? A lot of people you'll hear say that's not authentic Italian on Italian American food. And in my point is, but it's authentic Italian American food, right? Like it's what Italian American food is to Americans,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
And so it's like, it might not be authentic Italian, but it's authentic Italian American. I think these are two very distinct cuisines, different.
Totally.
There's crossover, but they're different.
Totally different.
Yeah.
And I agree. So I'll get into why, and you so what is the difference in my opinion, but we are mostly Italian, right? What you're going to get in Italy at my restaurant. And that was a huge pivot point for our customer base at first. When you open up Lucia's Italian Kitchen, they're coming looking for fettuccine Alfredo, chicken parm, meatballs, right? Italian American. And they walk in and they say, carbonara, matriciana, bucatini, all this stuff. And then, so that was a little different. But once they got into the dishes, we took off from there. But so Italian American is, I think the immigrants came over, they had what they did in Italy, but then they were picking up what was here in the States. And that cuisine developed New York, Chicago, right? St. Louis on the Hill had their own, and its own style. So I think the difference is pure ingredients and simple ingredients from Italy. Most dishes have 3 to 4 ingredients in it. But here in the States, now there's cream made it into there, pancetta made it in, different things like that. Sunday gravy is now pork, veal, sausages, meatballs. It's everything that goes in. And every region of Italy has a different form of that dish. So you can go to lasagna, and every region is different. So there's like 27 versions of lasagna in Italy. So it's not just bechamel, bolognese. There was peas, and Sicily had peas, eggs, pork, ricotta, spinach is all in their lasagna, and it's a specialty in Sicily. So that's kind of, I think the difference is just simple, pure ingredients. But over in America, they just kind of blended with what they had to make it work.
And I would say, for the longest time, at least for me growing up as an American in the States, what I understood Italian food to be, and I think when I got exposure to real Italian cooking, I was like, that's not Italian food. Like, that's what I thought as a kid. I was like, that's not, like, what do you mean?
When was that? When you
a
became a chef? Or?
Yeah, I was a chef. So the first chef I worked under, not the very first one, but one of the very first chefs I worked under, his name was Massimo, and he was from Naples. And I remember
The Massimo?
No, not that Massimo.
Oh.
No, his name was Massimo.
Okay.
He wasn't the Massimo.
Okay.
If you asked him, he is the Massimo, right? But he was from Naples. And he was just a bit older than me. He was a super cool guy, right? So I'm 19. He's probably like 26, right? So he's still smoking cigarettes, all the girls, Italian guy, right? And I'll never forget, like, one day he was saying, I was the best pizzaiolo in Napoli. And I'd be like, bitch, what do you know about pizza? And it's like, you don't know nothing about pizza in Naples. Like, what do you know, right? And he showed me how to make pizza. And I remember I was so mad at him. I was like, that's not a pizza. Like, I'm arguing with this guy from Naples. And he's like, what do you know? And I'm like, that's not pizza. That's not it's nothing like Domino's.
He made a margarita.
Yeah. Yeah, he was making. He was showing me.
No rolling pin.
He was showing me how to make real pizza, and here I'm arguing with him, saying that's not how you make it. Like, and he's like, no, he's like, what are you talking about? I'm from Naples. Like, I'm a pizzaiolo. I was
That's
like,
funny.
I was like, you don't know.
And you know that speaking about pizza, pepperoni, they don't have it in Italy.
Yeah, it's
sure
like
you-
peppers. Yeah,
It's pepperoni, right? You know, so Americans, they go to Italy and they say, oh, pepperoni pizza.
they get bell
No
peppers on
problem.
it.
Here comes roasted red peppers. And like, what in the hell? So that's an American thing. And that's kind of that American Italian, that came through. So Lumi's, yes, they have that over there. But yeah, there's a lot. Pizza is a whole different game over there. And, there's one of the pizzas that I really love in Italy is the tonda, the Roman tonda. So what that is? It's thin, it's crispy. So our pizza at Lucia's, we figured out how to get that the Romana tonda in a New York blend. I kind of blended those two together. And that's, we have our cornichons, they're slightly taller with a lot of air structure in it, but the bottom is still yet thin and crispy. And that's kind of the two that I'm like, I love that pizza and I like the New York, and that's how we formed Lucia's Pizza. And we won't change it. There's no change in it now.
I love
It
pizza.
works.
And by the way, I am a big fan of proper pizza. I am. I was a kid back then. For people that are like going to start talking shit, I was like, I was 18, 19, from the hood. Like,
Well, Caesar's $5.
yeah, it's like I didn't know anything, But when I started to get experience, and several of the first chefs that I worked under were Italian from Italy. And first sous chef job I ever got was in an Italian restaurant. But it was more Italian American. It was risotto, chicken parm, veal saltimbocca, all
Meatballs.
those things. Yeah, meatballs, right?
Fettuccine Alfredo in the wheel.
Yep. It was all of that stuff, which I love, by the way.
I do too.
I do too. And then later on, I worked under an Italian chef that was like, from Italy. He was like, that's not how we cook. And he's like, I'm going to show you the right way. This is American shit.
Yeah.
But it's like I crave both of them. I have an appreciation for all cuisine as a chef. Like you have to.
You have to.
You have to. If someone loves food and they're cooking for you, like they love you and they're showing you, hey, I love to cook, I love you, and I'm gonna give you this. How can you hate that?
Yeah,
right?
it's gonna be good. And usually it's going to taste better than other things if that's what they're giving you.
Right. Like I love to make this. I'm gonna make it for you. Like enjoy it. Yeah. But I could see where in a restaurant like yours, in a smaller city, you're serving some traditional shit.
Traditional shit, handmade pastas. They're like every time. The menu. There's 5 pastas: carbonara, matriciana, bucatini, right? Whatever it is. You have fettuccine alfredo? No, but I can give you something that's better.
Yeah.
And that's when we describe the carbonara, right? They're like, ooh, but then the famous word of guanciale comes out, and then they're like, what is that? So you like bacon? Yes. Bacon's here, pancetta's here, prosciutto's here, guanciale's up here. And then I described what it is, and then all of a sudden they forgot all about the fettuccine alfredo, and it's all carbonara. We make our own guanciale in house, so that's a little.
Do you?
Yeah, sure, and everything. It's a little added feature we do, but it's what makes our carbonara so good.
Yeah.
It's like going to Rome.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So a lot of the pastas that you're doing are like Roman style, amatriciana.
Right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so exactly. And then now there's a debate on the bucatini, on the rigatoni dish, the butiera. So I was told from an old Italian who came over that it was from Puglia. And then somebody's trying to argue that it's from Naples. It's a dish from Naples. So it's like rigatoni alla vodka without the vodka, right? So it's got a touch of cream inside the sugo. It's got Italian sausage and peas. That's rigatoni. And that's it. But I fell in love with that dish from an old Italian guy when I was a kid that used to make it. And I'm like, I am going to have that on my menu at some point.
Yeah.
And it's never come off. But I always thought it was from Puglia, Italy. That's what he told me. Yeah. I think I believe him. He was down there, But
Well, it's
maybe
funny.
not. I don't know.
I mean, people
it's some region.
People have opinions and they talk shit. And going back to what an idiot I was as a kid, I write a lot of these chefs' PSAs daily, and I realized a lot of them were directed at me when I was a kid. Like I was the idiot in the kitchen doing a lot of the shit that I'm telling people to not do.
Like your book.
Yeah, right. I was that kid, right? And you're talking about vodka sauce right now, and Massimo, the chef that I worked under when I was younger, we had pasta alla vodka. I don't remember what pasta it was. It doesn't matter. It was the vodka sauce.
Normally rigatoni.
Yeah,
but
it was. I don't know if it was rigatoni because I would have remembered that, but it was some sort of. I mean, it might have been like lumaki shells, right? Alla vodka. And I remember telling him, like, he's like, you got to make the vodka sauce. I was like, what's vodka sauce? He's like, it's an Italian sauce. I said, there's no such thing. And I'm arguing with him, like, what do you mean vodka? I said, you're making this shit up. I've never heard of vodka sauce my whole life. You're making shit up. And I would have these arguments with this Italian gentleman. He's like, and I don't know why he put up with me.
Probably loved you.
He's like, yeah.
Love to kill you.
Yeah, no, but I was a good cook on the line.
Yeah.
But he knew I was the only one that like cared, but I was also the big shit talking kid that had questions about everything.
I'm gonna throw one at you though. French toast.
Yeah.
What cuisine is that?
I would imagine it's the obvious. French? No? Pain Perdue?
You'd think.
Lost bread?
That's Italian. How'd you know it's lost bread?
Pain Perdue.
Okay, yes. So we would take our leftover bread. I would make the staff French toast every other week in the mornings, like the cooks that come in, right? And Gunner, my Sue, he's like, French toast is Italian. He's on his phone. I'm like, it's not Italian, Gunner. He's telling you, it's right here. 4th century in Rome, leftover bread, dipped in egg and milk, cooked in the pan, finished with honey. Lost bread, originated in Rome. I dug down the rabbit hole. That's all I can find.
Really?
So guess what's on my summer menu?
I hope. French toast.
Lost bread.
Yeah.
And it's French toast. It's the same thing. It's the same thing I make for them every week. And it's literally a loaf of bread. It's a starter, not a dessert.
What kind of bread are you using for your French toast?
So we use our pizza dough. We use Caputo flour from Italy, and we use Caputo Americana.
No.
So in our 40 oven, we bake at.
What's the difference between Caputo Americana?
So Americana is designed for Caputo to bake at a lower temp oven. Okay. So a little longer bake in a lower temp. So like the Caputo Blue and the other ones that they have are made for your true Neapolitan 700, 800, 900 degrees. That's like one flour that's ready for that pizza. So we have the rotator, and we're baking at 585 to 600. So our pizziola she can put it in there. It goes around. No turning, no spinning. When it's done, it comes out. It's a very simple process of that. But our bread is the same dough as our pizza. So as it proofs in the box, we either slap it into a pizza, or we literally, and it's just like this. And it's into a loaf of bread, olive oil, sea salt in the oven, 7 minutes. Beautiful Italian bread. It's the same dough. So when we come out of the pizza box, either we're making bread or we're making pizza. And I did that on purpose, so I didn't have to make 2 different doughs.
So back to your French toast, what are you soaking in? Just like an egg cream milk?
Yeah, so literally a little heavy cream, some milk, a little bit of vanilla, and that's it. That's all that's in there.
Yeah, dried out?
The bread?
Yeah.
No, it's be fresh. It'll be right off the rail. Yeah, it's not even dried out. So our fresh bread will absorb it better and quicker, and our bread is so airy in structure, and it'll take on the cream very easily. Just dip it right in the nonstick pan, cook them, and plate it, and it's done. Yeah.
When I think
it could be leftover bread too, because we would have it. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, like at home, like if I have like leftover ciabatta or French bread or whatever, that's going to turn into French toast.
It's great.
And I haven't made French toast in quite some time. And I was thinking about it. I was having a conversation with my mom the other day. 'Cause she shout out to my mom. She makes great French toast.
There you go.
And so she's telling me, you love my French toast. I was like, well, she's telling me, I was like, I should make some French toast. I haven't made it yet. But I do have a stale leftover French bread set on top of my fridge that I need to.
So I wanted to keep the Italian tradition in it with the honey from what we've researched. So we're using a bourbon-infused maple with a touch of honey.
The Police product?
We're making it ourselves.
Oh, you're making it?
Yeah. So literally, we found some really good pure maple syrup, and then we're infusing the bourbon in house, and then the honey. It's just like how we make our own hot honey too. And I've got it to where I'm like, yeah, this is perfect. I can get the bourbon, I can get the honey, and then we have it pre-made. We just drizzle it right over there and send it out.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. So we're not actually like buying. There's a company in Ohio I found that already has bourbon maple honey.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean, pure maple syrup is expensive, like maple. super. We're paying for
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
This guy was double that. I'm like, I can't put that in. People are gonna say, can I get more?
Not for brunch.
No, not even for. They're gonna say, can I get some extra syrup? Yeah, for $9 you can, because I can't give it to you. You know, so I was like, no way.
I want to talk to you a little bit about, for people that are listening, there's some operational efficiencies that are built into running a pasta-driven restaurant. Food cost is pretty good usually off of an extruder, right?
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what you're using, but it's usually flour and semolina and water. Usually, you could do other stuff, but
Right.
pretty low cost, right? So a portion is maybe 50 cents.
Roughly, yes.
Than the sauce, right? So it's
Yeah.
good. It's a good driver.
Pasta, you're looking at probably close to 40 to 50 cents a portion.
And then obviously if you're doing, laminated, sheet pasta, it's still a little bit more labor, but still inexpensive usually, right?
Correct.
Where it starts to become expensive, I think, I know, but I'm just curious what your opinion is when you start getting into filled pastas. And filled pastas for me, as a chef, were usually the bane of my existence when I had a filled pasta on the menu, because you need a lot of sheets of pasta to do that much for maybe 2 orders,
Yeah,
right?
it's crazy.
Right?
Yeah, depending on what you're doing.
You need a lot of sheets of pasta. It takes a lot of skill, a lot of time. You need an expert on there, and there's nothing worse than you put it on the sheet pan and then it's stuck and then it's gummy and then you're 86 in it left and right because you didn't do it right. What were some of the best practices that you picked up, as a pasta-driven restaurant that you
So
can share?
I agree. When you're sheeting pasta and you're making, let's say, ravioli, right? And we make ours with the little plexo cutters, the raviolis. Just being able to lay that pasta sheet perfectly to get maximum efficiency out of that sheet of pasta, right? So your ravioli cutter. And then you are taking the leftover pasta, but then you're refolding this back and you're sending it back through the sheeter. So now we're messing with the structure of the pasta slightly. The more times you're going through the sheeter that we've redone this. So that's one thing that stuffed pasta creates, is you have to pay attention to what you're doing there. And then as far as sticking, so we have these, they're plastic trays that come with our sheeter. They're on a rack, a speed rack, and then they have air in them. So we can just put them on there. The air will get to them.
Yeah.
But I'm a firm believer in freezing stuffed pastas, because what happens is, if we're going to cook it in an hour, we can get it in the reach-in or whatever we can, or online in our chef made, and we can use it. But the moisture inside the filling starts to break the pasta down. It becomes gummy, and it changes the texture automatically. So once we get a full pan in a drying rack, we'll throw it in our freezer and set them. And then we'll portion them from frozen, and we'll put them out on the line. Once they're frozen, you can put them in the chef base, and you're fine through service. Right, they're going to still be somewhat frozen, and they're not going to break down at that point. Which then you're not cooking everything from 100% frozen, but yeah, fresh pasta to get it. Not even so much stuff, but it takes so much time, is individually making them.
Yeah.
Right? Making campanelli, individual portions, and there's 7 or 9 or whatever you have per portion. And if it's on your menu for 6 months, do you know how many of those you got to make?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't.
Because, it's crazy. And so that's it. It takes one person out of your team to be trained properly to literally make pasta all day long. And that's why we do them as specials. And that's when we run stuff, it's always on specials, because I just can't be back there stuffing pasta by hand.
So if you're going to give advice to someone that's, and I'll share people there's a lot of different ways to do it. Like I've seen people do like silpat mats, and then a little spray so they don't stick, and then freeze them. I've seen people, some people swear by semolina on the bottom, right? So everyone has a different thing.
I think you need something with air, something that, whether it could be a screen. So even the pasta racks in Italy, they're old wood rails with, it looks like the screen that your screen door would have.
Yeah.
And it's just a screen. It's just something to allow air to get to the bottom of that door, not sitting on something flat. So whether it be plastic or parchment paper, right? And then semolina, that works as well. But if you're going to hold them, You gotta have something to let the air flow. Silk mat would probably be fine.
Yeah,
too.
Silpat mat seems to work well, or like you said, semolina, or a screen. There's all these different things, but I'll tell you what doesn't work. Just put them on a sheet pan.
No, they're stuck.
Don't do that.
You can tip it over and it just like
There's
they're not
nothing
coming off.
worse. There's nothing worse than you're going to get an order and they say, "Chef, I don't have that order. It's all stuck."
Yeah, well,
it's
or
all-
it's when you're making them, and we make pasta on a wood table, right? I'm not a fan of stone or stainless when it comes to making hand pasta. And there's times that if the dough is slightly wetter, or just to kind of get that piece of pasta off of your table, I may have to have a little palette knife just to give me a little starter, right? So at that point, you got to be careful, and that's determining where your filling is, where your dough is. So it's very tedious.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way. for
So,
sure.
so from a business standpoint, if you were to give advice to people, you would say fewer filled, more extruded.
Right.
Like if you had your perfect ratio, would it be like maybe 40% extruded, 50% noodles, or I'm sorry, 30% noodles and like 10% filled?
Yeah, 90-10. Somewhere that, for that matter. Or if you have the labor to do it,
Yeah.
do it. Right? Everybody loves stuffed pasta in the form of whatever it is. So if you have the labor and you have the time to do it, I would probably at that point. But if you have 7 pasta dishes, I would only have 2 stuffed.
Yeah.
Period. Why want you to do 3?
Yeah.
So I would do 2 out of the 7 and keep the other 5 as extruded for sure.
Yeah. And then
So we
when,
have multiple dyes that we can. I think we have 13 dyes right now.
how many of them do you lose?
The dyes?
Yeah. How many have you had to replace?
None.
None?
No.
Oh my God, those things always, every place I've ever worked at, like someone fucking loses one.
No, we haven't lost any. We almost lost what we thought because they didn't get it in water, and the pasta dries like concrete inside there.
Yeah.
And then it's a little tiniest wire to clean every one of those out. But we have not lost any, thank God. So our Gunner's my pasta guy. Him and I are the only 2 that work that machine, and he knows as soon as that brass die comes off of that machine,
Yeah.
it better be in water immediately. Even the rest of cleaning the machine, then it goes to dish. It gets scrubbed and cleaned, and then put back in clean water before anything else happens. Before you portion, before you unstick the pasta, because those dies are what $380.
Yeah, they're like $300 a piece. Yeah.
Yeah. So we haven't lost one yet.
Yeah. ID to check one out. ID to
Yeah. No, so not yet.
And when it comes to cooking pasta, do you have like a special ratio that you use for salting the water?
Taste.
Taste.
Because our pasta machines are constantly refilling, so it's changing your salinity all the time. So you just have to taste, and that's kind of the things like okay. And I'm probably gonna get struck dead by a lot of chefs on this one. I undersalt my pasta water slightly.
How dare you?
I know.
Why?
Not in the pot if I'm making it, in the pasta machine. It's not a matter of undersalting. I was nervous about rusting my machine out for number one. That was my thing. But the other part is the water's changing all the time. You constantly got to check it. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, needs more salt, right? And you're checking because it goes through and then you fill it and whatever. So I don't know. I shouldn't say under, but it probably could be a little saltier than we do make it, but we do salt it.
It's so funny. And Italian cuisine also, French cuisine is also very particular like this, but there's a right way to do everything, and it changes with every chef, and they're right. You know what
Possibly.
I mean? Yeah. Like one of these chefs' PSAs that I say often is, no matter how well you do something, another chef thinks you're wrong.
That's probably right.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate, right?
How would you, I mean, in theory, how would you test it?
You taste it, but
So the way you can do it is just taste it.
some people will do it by percentage, right? So I know certain chefs that will say, I'm kind of making this up, but I want to say it's like 1%. It's like 1% of total, 1% or 1.5% of total
Weight of water.
weight. Yeah, weight of water is what they're going to go.
Well, that's kind of leans toward your pizza dough, but it's more like 2%, when it comes to the weight of flour. But yeah, we just taste it, and then we carry it over. And then, so that's the thing about, our saute guys, and we're cooking the pasta being salted in the water, and then we're seasoning the dish, which you constantly have to taste. Because you might have one slightly a little saltier, one that's not, it's going to need more salt, or you have more pecorino in this one that carries salt. So everything.
What do you like more for finishing your pastas, pecorino or parm? Parmesan. Sorry, Brent.
Parmigiano Reggiano.
Parmigiano Reggiano.
Flavor, I like pecorino.
Yeah.
For prettiness and making the dish look nice, parm.
Yeah.
Shaved parm shaves different than pecorino through the planer. And it just gives us really pretty. But I like pecorino. I think it's a little nuttier and it's a little more depth.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're getting more pecorino in your Roman style pastas. Your cacio.
Yeah, we are. And like our Caesar salad, of course, has 24-month Parmigiano Reggiano and a ton of it, right? It's all over it, And there's certain dishes that we do. So I make it, our lasagna, traditionally is not pecorino. It's parm, except in my place, it's pecorino.
Do you pre-bake your lasagna, portion it, and then reheat it to order?
No. So we build everyone to order, and it cooks in the pizza oven. So we take our pasta, we blanch our pasta, and we hold it on the table. Our bolognese is already done. So we're going to take bolognese, reheat it up in a saute pan, get it back to temp, and then we build the lasagna right there. 2 minutes to build it, 7 minutes in the oven. And
Nice.
It goes around with it. It cooks the same time as the pizza.
Wow.
So we do
It's
everyone.
almost a little bit more freeform.
Well, so I was freeforming. So we were literally, our lasagnas were 6 by 6 by like 4.5. They were big.
Yeah.
And when you freeform them on the, on the pan, it's got to be perfect. It's like a foundation because it could
Right.
do this. So when we started to get busier in the restaurant, the lasagna station was dragging the rest of the kitchen down because they were all freeformed. So I found these old grandma casseroles that are, about 2.5 inches, about 7 inches. And now we build them in there. They don't have to be as precise, right? So they can build the same lasagna. It got longer instead of taller. And then what the advantage to that was, one, it picked up speed on that station slightly. But the big advantage to me was it holds the heat of the lasagna throughout the course of the customer eating it. By being in that casserole, that little casserole dish maintains it. When I was freeforming, the lasagna would sometimes cool off before they can get through it because it come out ripping hot, but there's nothing to hold that heat in. It's just on your plate.
I used to have lasagna on the menu, and the chef he made a great lasagna, and we'd portion it, pre-bake it, make sure it's nice and solid, portion it into blocks. But there was always that like trim.
That you got to eat.
Fuck, that was so good. That was like my favorite thing. Like whenever the chef happened to be portioning the lasagna, I'd go talk to him and just be sitting there snacking on.
So what is your opinion of most Italian restaurants? How are they reheating their lasagna?
Like that, like in a pizza oven or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So when we started way back with our lasagna, we did it that way. But it was taking 16 to 18 minutes to go from cold to serving temp. It's too long.
Maybe they're using the microwave
First.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think they put it in the microwave, they get it started, maybe they're throwing cheese on it, whatever it is, and then into the oven or into the sally or wherever it goes from there, and that's how it's coming out. Most Italian restaurants, you're getting lasagna, the plate's ripping hot. It's either coming off this. So that was one of the things I'm like, no, we're just going to put ours to order. As long as the bolo's hot, the bechamel is at room temp, right when it goes in, it's going to heat perfectly through. The bolo's cold, so it's never going to heat.
This chef that I used to work with, his name was Livio Massigliani, and he would have we had a free-form lasagna on the menu, and it was like he was from Venice, so it was like a spinach sheet, and it was a bechamel based lasagna, but he put a lot of crab in it. It was like a seafood lasagna, but he'd everything hot, build it, salamander, sell it. It was quick.
Yeah.
He just cooked the pasta sheets to order, and it was good.
Yeah, we have stacks. So our pasta sheets literally are already set and done. But we also have a dish called pasta rags, which are made from our lasagna sheets.
Fazzoletti.
Kind of, yeah. So we just cut them. We cut them in half. They fold over. They plate like rags. It's a mushroom cream pasta that we do. So we go through. I think we did the math, and it's 800 to 900 sheets a week.
Yeah.
Of lasagna sheets.
Wow.
It's a lot.
That is.
It's a lot. Individual, sheets that are 6.5 inches long, almost 1,000 a week.
One of the things that by the way, congratulations on all your success. For people that don't know, they need to go eat at your restaurant if they're in the area, because I think what you've done is incredible, because you took an unconventional route to opening up a restaurant. Because you started as a contractor and then you went and became a chef.
Correct.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Kind of a short side of that story. Wanted to be a chef, right? All the way from being young back in 1989. Chefs didn't make a lot of money unless you were a big name. So construction paid well. So that's where I went down that avenue and just cooked, taught myself to cook the whole time. 2008, the economy crashes. I opened a food truck just to get by for a little bit. Opened a little restaurant. Didn't really know what I was doing back then, but still cooking. And literally just taught myself to cook the whole time. So fast forward to 2019, called my wife, said, I'm done building. We're doing 2 pizza restaurants in Atlanta. We did all the work for Sbarro and other things. I said, I'm walking away. I got to go cook. She says, we're going to make any money? I'm like, I have no fucking idea, but I'm done building. And so we're supposed to go to Louisville, Kentucky. COVID hit, and one investor dropped. Now what do? Open a ghost kitchen 2020. Lucia's, a burger place, a cheesesteak shop. 8 months later, spot came open. I moved Lucia's over to that spot. We chef it up, and we are 5 years past COVID. But yeah, I think being a contractor, well, teaching myself to cook, right? That was the thing. I would travel with more cooking equipment than construction tools. Get kicked out of hotels with an uni coda, firing pizzas in a hotel room, like get out. That happened in New York. But yeah, just taught myself to cook. And then as far as the financials of the business, being a contractor helped me tremendously by knowing financials of I didn't know how they worked until I got into it, but it's pretty much the same. There's numbers you need to hit, and there's budgets and everything else. So that was big for me. But yeah, mostly self-taught by passion.
And doing amazing things with the food. Their food looks amazing.
Well, I
could not be happier for all the success that you're getting, and I can't wait to see you get more.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great next couple of years. 4 or 5 years.
What's next after this? Like, you have other restaurants anything you can share?
We have a lot of opportunity. People are coming to us about more. I don't want another one at this point. I just want to make Lucia's the best, right? So can we compete with the high-end restaurants in Chicago? Absolutely, right? Can we compete St. Louis, they're big cities? We're doing what they're doing in small rural America. So if we can make it a destination spot and there's a line to get in my restaurant every day, why do I got to have another one?
Yeah.
That's my thought.
Yeah.
I'm 54. Do I go open another one? I don't want to go open 12.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just the one. As long as the one is successful, it makes money, we do good things, and I think we'll be all right with the one.
It's awesome, Chef.
You never know.
Yeah. Oh.
You got a gift. Lucia's.
Let's see.
The Italian kitchen.
People
and our tagline is on that shirt, and we use that all the time.
What does it say? Cheaper than Italy. There you go.
Cheaper than a plane ticket to Italy. Yeah. So that goes on all of our social media. It's kind of a catchy little thing with that stuff. But,
cheaper than a ticket to Italy. Yeah, that's beautiful.
So,
thank you, Chef.
I knew you always wore black shirts. I'm like, yeah, get that guy a black shirt.
Yeah, thank you.
That's good.
I appreciate that. Let me ask you my closing questions. And we've probably covered a lot of them, so I'm going to have to mix it up a little bit. But if you have your Mount Rushmore of 4 chefs that should be on there, who's on there? I hope you thought about this.
Yeah, I have, because I know this is one of your questions. So mine was easy, though. So, all right, number one, can I break it up in categories?
Let's go.
This just my
This is your Mount Rushmore.
Okay. So I'm going to say fine dining would be TK, Thomas Keller. That would be number one. I'm going to say barbecue, right? And this is going to Rodney Scott. Mm-hmm. Do you know who that guy is?
No.
Okay. Do you know who Barbara Mandrell is?
No.
Barbara Mandrell was the lady who sung the song "I Was Country When Country Wasn't Cool." Okay, so that's Rodney Scott. He was barbecue before barbecue was cool.
Where's
he was the Rich Franklin before Rich Franklin.
Where's he?
Carolinas.
Okay.
Old school, in a shack, some of the best barbecue ever. He was the pioneer of barbecue that started, and then all of a sudden, so I say Rodney Scott is my barbecue, Mount Rushmore. Southern cuisine would be another favorite of mine, would be Sean Brock.
Yep.
And Italian, because that's what I am, that's what we do, has got to be not the Massimo who taught you, but the other Massimo Vittora
Yeah.
would be
He's
the guy,
legend,
right? He's the legend, and you got to give him props. So those would be my 4, and I do it by category.
And I know you ate
I don't
a-
want to go just like
No,
Daniel Boulud. They're all fine dining, and they're one category to me. I'm like, I want my Mount Rushmore.
Yeah,
I want it to be
let's
everywhere.
diversify. And it's things that I know you like. You had Leroy and Lewis today.
That was awesome. Those
Yeah.
guys are great.
Shout out to Evan Leroy.
Yeah, that was fantastic. They do it well.
Did you meet him?
I did. I met Evan towards the end, and said, "Hey, restaurant's good." So a guy named André sent me over, and he goes, "Oh, that André." He said, "Yeah." So no, it was good. They were busy. There was a line formed, when they got there, and I didn't want to take up his time. I know what it's like.
No, he's great. He's
so
so
we met,
good.
told him who I was, what we're doing here. So yeah, super nice guy with the barbecue. The beef cheeks are great.
Yeah.
I had to try them. Right, I've had beef cheeks and a ragu. Right, it's fun. But
It's when people come to town, and if we're going to eat, usually it's not a damn chance burger. Leroy and Lewis also gets a lot of guest chefs.
Yeah.
I send them there. And then it's my Troncas Tacos, which is right up the street. Last question, chef. Is it a blue tape kitchen? Is it a green tape kitchen?
neither
Neither. What are you doing?
yellow.
Yeah. Oh, hey, being different.
Here's why. So I use yellow tape and black Sharpie because it reminds me of my favorite football team, the Steelers.
Okay.
And that's why I use yellow
Yeah,
tape.
fair enough.
And it's all yellow tape. And yes, the tape, it has to be cut. It has to be put on straight. And
I might start doing that because it reminds me of the Wu-Tang Killer Bees.
that's it. Yeah, it's black. It's yellow with black writing. And,
Yeah.
and we have our own verbiage when it comes to some of our stuff, I mean, are you really going to write the whole word mushroom? Yeah, there's shroom. We abbreviate things. It works for us. But yeah, tape straight, but it's always yellow. Do I have green? Yes, I use green around some of my piping bags for some of our frosting and things like that.
Yeah. What about your salt? Is it Diamond Crystal or is it Morton's?
So
Or
it's
is it
Morton's.
It's Morton's. Yeah.
Morton's.
Is it Chicago?
No, not because I developed my dough recipes with Morton's. And then I tried some other salts and I could not dial my dough back in. They were too salty. They were missing salt. Every salt has different salinity, right? They're different. And I dialed in with Morton's and I've always used it in all my cooking, all my seasonal, not for finishing, but cooking. Morton's kosher salt, my pizza dough, my bread's always Morton. We keep malt on the line, for some finishing salt for that one. But we don't have to finish a lot of Italian food with salt.
Yeah. Well,
There are some things we do, but yes, we had a zucchini, right? That we do a grilled zucchini. Have you had the holy pan from Maiden? Have you seen it?
yeah.
My favorite pan in the world. We use it on the line. I don't have to bring a grill in because I got the holy pan.
Yeah.
And we do a zucchini, which is, grilled zucchini. Like, it's fantastic.
Shout out to Maiden.
Shout out to Maiden.
Yeah. They're here. They're from Austin.
They are?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I was one of their first customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their pans are great.
Yeah. If you go to like very old Maiden commercials, you'll see me.
Really?
Yeah. You'll see me like
the
doing
originals?
shucking oysters, or you'll see my hands in a lot of. That was a hand model before I was on Chef's PSA.
Yeah. No, I love them. Yeah, the pans are good. We have the plancha, right? So I use that a ton, but we have, I think, 3 of I call them the holy pans.
Yeah.
The big one and 2 little ones, but we use it a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Because I can blanch vegetables, like zucchini, right? Fire it off, carrots, whatever. It works.
Where can people find you if they want to follow on social media, if they want to eat your food, if they want to learn all about you?
Effingham, Illinois, 3 hours south of Chicago, right? That's where we are. It's Lucia's Italian Kitchen. So our Facebook is Lucia's Italian Kitchen, of course, and then Instagram is Lucia's Effingham. And then we have my personal Instagram is Chef Geno MC.
Yeah, and I know you're new to Instagram.
We're building it.
Yeah,
So
people go give Gito a follow.
Yeah, our Facebook, we're 13,000 locally. We do fairly well on our Facebook, but our Instagram, we just kind of left alone. And over the last year, we were starting to build it now. And I never really messed with Instagram until recently.
Yeah.
So, but that's where we everybody's going to the gram.
Yeah.
The younger generation.
That's where it's at.
Yeah.
Where's
Are
that?
you on the gram? Yeah, we're on the gram.
Yeah. All right, Chef.
So-
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, man.
Let's go get some drinks.
Nice.
All right, that's the show. If you liked it, make sure you leave 5 stars, nothing less than 5 stars. If you want more Chef's PSA, go to chefspsa.com. Get yourself some books, get yourself some merch, including Culinary Leadership Fundamentals and the Line Cook Survival Manual. If you want early access to episodes, you can get them on Spotify and Substack by becoming a paid member. The link is in the notes. We'll see you next week. Hit the porno music.
No André in the kitchen, mixing, dropping chef knowledge, no fiction. Stirring up the beats, heating up the session. Listen close, classes in session.